Welcome everybody to a brand new episode of That's a Wrap. I'm Caboose XPO.
I'm Ender the Answer.
And today we have for you guys our spoiler-free review of Thor Ragnarok, the latest film in the Thor trilogy, and of course the latest film in the Marvel franchise in general. Now before we get into our review, I just wanted to ask you guys if you could leave a like rating on the video, as it shows your support, and we would really appreciate it. So if you could leave a like, that would be awesome. And with that said, well, let's just jump into this. Let's talk about this. What did you think of Thor Ragnarok?
I did enjoy the movie. Watching reviews, watching people talk about this movie, I wasn't as blown away as I've been seeing people saying. I mean, it is a different movie, and we got to jump right into it. We're going to talk about the good and the bad.
So let's start with the good. Let's start with the good.
Talk about the comedy.
Yeah.
Got to talk about the comedy too. It is a lot of comedy in this movie.
It's really funny.
And it is funny. I mean, like, laugh out loud moments, and it is original jokes you do get in this. But we'll later on when we get to the bad about it as well. But I thought it was very funny. There was funny.
Yeah, no, it was really good. I mean, like, from what I wasn't expecting it to be as funny as it was. There were moments where I was like, really laughing. And you know, it's Taika Waititi. For those who might not know who this guy is, like, just his personality and from the previous films that he's directed, he's just a really funny guy. And I think that's what I like about this film is that, you know, you can tell with it being as funny as it is that this is his movie.
Yes.
And
just like James Gunn does with the Guardians.
Right.
It's his style.
And I love that because, you know, it basically just kind of lets you know, like, hey, Marvel just kind of gave him the free reins to do what he wanted. I'm sure there's probably some things where they're like, hey, if you can just do this, and that for us, you're good to go. But it's just really good because it is his film through and through.
And I'm telling you, like, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, they can pull off comedy. They can pull off comedy. They were really funny. Like, you can tell he has the chops to pull off comedy, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, and of course we had some side characters like Jeff Goldblum in there, Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum.
He just does, his role, and he does it fine.
He does his Jeff Goldblum-isms, so he's really great in the movie. And then, of course, you had characters like Hulk, who actually does incorporate some comedy himself, and he is pretty funny in ways, you know.
It isn't just a Hulk smash movie. He does have some dialogue in this movie.
Right, which I thought was a really interesting take that they did with this movie. You know, they've kind of adopted that he does have some dialogue in comic books. He speaks like, you know, he's like a 4-year-old or something. And I like that they've done that, and of course, it does make for some really funny moments overall.
He isn't just yelling like you normally do. I thought the villain was great. I mean, they made a good comeback.
Well, yeah, you have the villain,
You know, we have the villain. We're going to talk about some of the side characters. They really hit a home run, I think, with this villain. She was menacing. She was super powerful. You see it from the trailer. She destroys the hammer. I mean, no one can even lift a hammer. So, but I still felt like I could have got more from her. I really felt because just the power that she did have. You know, she has some comedy as well. But once again, we'll get into the bad. And I thought Tessa Thompson is a really upcoming actress in Hollywood. Movie. She really does.
Yeah, she still some scenes that she's in as well. She's really great in this movie overall. And yeah, just like you mentioned, I really enjoyed Hela. And overall, man, Marvel has been killing it with some of their villains lately. They've been doing a really good job with some of their villains lately. You know, Guardians had a very creative, unique take on their villain. Spider-Man, I mean, Michael Keaton was amazing as Spider-Man as a villain. And then now you got Hela to add to that list. And they're doing a really good job with their villains lately. And I think it's just this whole new initiative that they've been taking because, you know, they've taken some heat with some of their villains in previous films. So
I also did want to mention the color palette was awesome in this movie. I mean, we see it coming with Black Panther from some of the trailers, but this movie, a good mixture of costumes, colors, just a lot of lights, a lot of flashing things going on in this movie. And it's not too much. Like, it was a nice mixture. I really did enjoy that about this movie.
No, they've done a really good job with the color palette. It is a really colorful movie. But all right, so that's the good. That's the things that we liked about the movie. Now let's move on. Let's talk about some of the bad. What are some of the things that you didn't like?
Well, the thing that I liked is one of the things that was the things that I didn't like was the comedy. I mean, it's a big thing in this movie. It's going to be a lot of talk regarding this movie about that, and it just there's certain parts. It's just probably a little bit too much. Even it just gets maybe a little bit even just too goofy. I mean, comedy is good. I think it's a great thing in these comic book movies. It relaxes people. It gets a laugh out of you. It's enjoyable, but when you do it too much, it doesn't hit home. My biggest gripe is, you know, you have a serious scene, like literally say, I'm going to save my planet. 2 seconds later, literally 2 seconds later, is a joke. And just him.
It ruins the tension. It ruins the suspense.
The aggression of the villain. It does kill that because literally, I'm trying to think about a scene where there was not comedy in this movie. There is. I mean, every other scene or almost every scene does have comedy.
I guess for me, I didn't find that to be too much of a problem just because of the way that I know, you know, the character, like the way Taika Waititi is. And funny enough, actually, I do want to mention Taika Waititi's character in the movie because he's in the movie and he's playing Korg and he is so funny in the movie. But yeah, I know
his jokes really did hit home.
His jokes landed. But yeah, I get what you're coming from. You know, it does ruin the tension at some moments when there's like this world-ending thing that's happening and they're cracking jokes and having fun.
Yes.
You know, it kills the suspense. It ruins the tension. So I can see where you're coming from in that.
Now, mind you, the last scene is where it does all come together a little bit.
The final act in general is just awesome. The final act of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, if we're talking about things that we like, there is one really badass scene that everyone's going to talk about in the final act.
In terms of negatives for me, I think my biggest gripe with this movie is it's called Thor Ragnarok, and anybody who knows the comics understands what that means. And in the film, Ragnarok and the whole idea of it is really just an afterthought. And I'm not sure how I felt about that, because maybe they should have just titled it something else. You know, I don't know how I feel about it. It's called Thor Ragnarok, and it's like, oh, okay, we're all building to this, you know? And it's an afterthought in the movie.
You really just get a real small taste of it. Yeah.
So I don't know how I felt about that. Overall, besides that, I mean, the movie just kind of goes really, really fast. You don't have enough time to sit on a few moments or to sit on a few things. Just like you said, there's too much comedy, so it's just going boom, 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 boom. And I don't know how I felt about that.
Yeah, when you're just trying to digest something from a good scene, or even a good joke, there's just another joke right after. You just don't have a chance to take in some of that passion from some of the scenes. And like I said, they've got great actors and actresses here, and some of it you can't take home. And I think you were saying this when we were driving home. It's that home run, or just that memorable, you know? Is just not there. I mean, there's a great scene at the end, but just you come away from these movies, you always remember 2 or 3 wicked scenes, and it didn't do that.
Like for Civil War, you have Spider-Man. You know, you have the great action scene at the airport with someone like Spider-Man: Homecoming. Of course, you have like the villain like Michael Keaton. Guardians, you have the soundtrack. With Thor, it's just like, Hulk was cool, Thor was cool, Hela was cool. That's about it. You know, like, I'm not going crazy about anything in this movie like I was with those other films that I previously mentioned. So those are my biggest gripes about it. And I guess that's pretty much our overall thoughts on Thor Ragnarok.
What do you give your rating here?
So let's give a rating out of 10. For me, I'm going to give Thor Ragnarok a 7.5 out of 10.
God, I was struggling again. You always know me, and I'm a Marvel guy. But I give it a 7, a really generous 7 out of 10.
You're giving a lot of 7 out of 10s this year.
I have. You know what? I have.
That is once you see a movie get above 7, you know it's really, really good.
Right.
But
for me.
But all right, that's our thoughts on Thor Ragnarok. Now we're going to kick it to you guys. Have you seen Thor Ragnarok yet? Are you going to see it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And once again, if you can leave a like rating on the video, it shows your support and we would really appreciate it. And you can click somewhere on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter and like us on Facebook. Those links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new.
That's a wrap.